Happy Sunday, everybody. It is Sunday, January 19th, the day before Ohio State's national championship game against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And generally, with most of the final days leading into bowl games and things of that nature, pretty clear calendar. We talk to the head coaches in a joint presser, and that's kind of it. Then we're left up to our own devices, finish up writing stories, all that good stuff. So I have a little bit of free time. Why not jump on here and talk with all my friends here at the Big Meat Kickoff? I want to thank sponsor Grateful Griddle out of Columbus, Smash Burgers, everything else that you want. Fantastic brand new food truck. I don't have the read. This is just a bonus ad read on my show. They're doing a lot of coverage for our national championship coverage. So Grateful Griddle, thank you so much for being a great partner with us at Buckeye Huddle. I have lots of other great partners as well. Jeff Ruby, who presents the Huddle board, Wager Wire, who we are going to get a deal started here very soon, a chance to win some really cool Buckeye swag. I don't have all the deets on that one yet. We're still working on that one, but download the WagerWire app at your favorite app store, either Google Play or the Apple App Store. Get yourself logged in already with an account. Use referral code Buckeye Huddle, 2 words, and get in place for a really cool opportunity to win some swag. And I think I've done our housekeeping there. We already have some people jumping in. Already have 100 people between Facebook, X, and YouTube. So thank you to everybody for spending part of your Sunday with me, having an opportunity to talk a little bit before some NFL football. Great stuff there. Later today, I will be at the Alumni Association, the Ohio State Alumni Association, Atlanta chapter. They are having a party. Sold out already, and we will be speaking, Tom, Tony, and myself, in the first hour, somewhere in the 6 to 7 o'clock hour. Hopefully I have enough voice at that point to be able to bring the house down. I have not prepared any comments, so we will kind of see where that one goes. Hopefully a lot of people have had the opportunity to get out here to Atlanta. I know that tickets are more than an arm and a leg. They're like 3 arms and 4.5 legs to be able to get into the building. Mercedes-Benz, 71,000 seating capacity, at least according to Wikipedia. I walked around on the street a little bit. I ran over to CVS. I didn't have one of my prescriptions. What? Oh, CVS is open. Pharmacy isn't. So I'm going to have to do that tomorrow morning at some point. Not a big deal, but starting to see more fans trickle in. I would say in my unofficial 0.3 mile each way walk, it was probably 60-40 Ohio State fans. Now, super unofficial 0.3 miles each way. Not the greatest sample we're going to see, but I saw rode down in the elevator with some Notre Dame fans. Very nice people. Saw a lot of Ohio State fans. Somebody recognized me. I don't know if it was from the show or maybe from a past life and some past transgression that I'm responsible for, but really great to get out there and see people. But we're already starting to get jammed up with some comments, just a lot of hellos. I saw some Burger King being mentioned in there. So let's do something that we never did before and try and stay caught up. And we won't for the entire show. I promise you that. I know that we will fall behind. Somebody will find something and I'll give you a 10-minute answer, and then we'll be hopelessly behind and we will be completely out of context on what we're getting some of the stuff. McChicken saying, handsome stud. How are you doing, McChickens? Glad to see you. Chadwick, what's up, Kev Dog? Took a nap today. I'm not going to say that I'm fully rested and recouped, but with Tom off doing some stuff with Ohio State Marching Band, Tony working in the media workroom, I had the room to myself. Get your mind out of the gutter, and took a 2-hour nap. So I'm feeling a little bit more refreshed. It's a grind. Now, everybody talks about, oh, it must be great. Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Atlanta, doing all that. It is. I am not one of these media people who's going to be like, oh, woe is me. My job is so difficult. But it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of travel. I would be curious to know how many fans, not family. That's a little bit different. You got more skin in the game. How many fans were able to do every stop? Now, first and foremost, you have to be very financially blessed to be able to do that because it's a lot of schlepping around. You're going to LA at New Year's, you're going to get destroyed on that flight. Dallas probably wasn't that bad, even though there was the snow concern in Dallas, and then of course Atlanta, and the tickets being outrageous. If you're staying downtown, the hotel prices are outrageous. But I'd be curious, 1,000 people, 500 people, 50 people, and I want to even small make the subset a little smaller. Not boosters who are already giving a lot of money to the program, a lot of money to the university, who may have some benefits built into it as a booster in terms of traveling with the official party and stuff like that. But how many people were able to go every step of the way? And let's not forget the first round, Tennessee, that was a home game. A lot of people obviously were able to do that one because it was just like a football Saturday. But for me, it's been a lot of running around, and I'm not as young as I used to be, and I try to portray that I am that young with some of the media functions at night, and a couple of pops, and a couple more pops, and maybe even a couple more pops. I've noticed I've slowed down a lot. I've been covering Ohio State since not talking about when I was a student, but I've been covering Ohio State. I started at Channel 6 in Columbus in 95. And while I wasn't necessarily on the road, I was studio personnel, so I got to cover some Ohio State stuff in Columbus. I didn't get to go out on the road, but yeah, I guess I started covering Ohio State in 95, took 7 years, went a different direction, working, covered the Big 12 for several years, and then worked on the corporate side in media for a couple years, and then came back in '06. But even if we just say since '06, that's 18 years. So 18 years ago, I was able to party a lot more than I can now, and I'll say that one for certain. Um, but I'm not one of those that's going to bed at 8:30 at night or anything like that. I'm still closing the media room down at midnight. Don't get me wrong. Maybe old, but I'm not dead yet. Let's go through some more. Doug Shepard. Good afternoon, Kevin. Hello, Doug Shepard. We have Krondenick. After running the numbers through the model over and over, I finally come to my score prediction. 5-4, Irish win. That's, so we're saying three safeties in the game. We're saying three safeties. I mean, we are talking about two of the best defenses in the nation. I think that you might want to tighten a couple screws on the model. I think maybe it's a little bit off kilter. Heavily weighted to defensive metrics, not weighted so much to offensive metrics. I know I'm taking kind of a tongue-in-cheek fun comment and being too serious about it because I'm an old stick in the mud, but there you go. Neil Harris, good afternoon. Good after Kevin Noon. Let me read that one correctly. Here we have Atlanta chapter is huge. Yes, it is. Atlanta and Dallas are two of the biggest chapters in terms of like active participants, members, alumni members in the chapters. I mean, we know that Ohio State has a huge contingent in Chicago. I think LA is probably pretty big in terms of the number that it can draw from. I've had some conversations with LA just very casually. I mean, if LA or any chapter by that matter is watching and ever wants to fly me out to come and speak to your chapter about Ohio State, and as long as it doesn't, interfere covering a game, I'm more than happy to do that kind of stuff. I love being able to talk to people who enjoy talking about the Buckeyes. I mean, obviously my main gig, which is still this gig, it just was over at buckeyehuddle.com. And it's not too late to take advantage of our special get your first month for $4.99 at Buckeye Huddle. If Ohio State is able to win on Monday, you'll get all of the celebration. You will get, likely the whatever they would do at Ohio Stadium. I don't know if they would be able to get something put together quickly enough in terms of a trip to DC. Hashtag stick to sports. There's a change in leadership there. First 100 days, generally pretty important. I think that might take a little bit of time, but If you join Buckeye Huddle, you're not leaving. And that's not because we trap you with your information and make you jump through hoops to be able to go. It'll make it very easy to cancel if we're not doing our jobs or, which has never been an issue or anything like that. But Tom, Tony, myself covering the team, Mark Givler covering recruiting, Ross Fulton, Mickey Pettit, Devin Radcliffe, all doing X's and O's work, plus the greatest community over on the Huddle board presented by Jeff Ruby Columbus. Just a great community to talk to. I mean, we may not be the largest community in all of Ohio State land, but it is amazing that if you have a question about almost anything, there's somebody there that can answer it. Now, I'm not going there and getting medical advice. I don't even listen to my personal doctor. I'm not going there getting medical advice, but hey, I'm going to be traveling to Albuquerque. Oh, you need to eat at these 6 places. Oh, I'm looking at a car. There's just everything there. It's Buckeyes and everything on the Huddle board presented by Jeff Ruby Columbus. $4.99 for your first month. I'm asking you, please, even more so than a super chat. We love super chats here. But at the end of the day, memberships over at Buckeye Huddle are what keep the trains running, keeps me employed. So that is important to me. Think of it as a personal favor to your favorite host of the Big Me Kickoff, Kevin Noon, by signing up for BuckeyeHuddle.com. McChickens, just talk about your hatred for Burger King. I'm waiting for a day that somebody comes in here who's like a senior vice president of Burger King, to offer, a cease and desist to me, to tell me to stop slandering the name of their company. I just don't like Burger King. I think it's bad. I don't like it. I think everything in that oil tastes the same. And Kevin, that's a big reach. It's a franchisee model, and every place is going to handle their stuff differently. I don't know if they all order it from the Taste Like Butt oil company or what, because it's all terrible. But that's all I'm going to say about Burger King, unless I get a super chat about Burger King, of course. We got another one. Hey, Kev, how are you doing? Newer name for me, so I want to sit there and say hello. I always love seeing new names in the chat. Whether or not you are a lurker who hasn't talked to us before, or you have found us recently through YouTube, X, or Facebook, welcome to the Big Me Kickoff. Doug Shepard just finished replacing rollers on the dryer. My son and I only got mad at each other 2 to 3 times. New record for us. I would start to sing Cats in the Cradle. I don't want to get this video demonetized or chase off all of our viewers with my awful singing voice, but 2 to 3 sounds like a pretty good run for doing a major project like that. I would probably just light the dryer on fire, maybe the entire house, and start over fresh. Burger King is trash. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sage Ohio saying hello. John Taylor saying go Bucks. Doug Shepard thinks that the fish sandwich at BK is okay. It is all cooked in that butt oil. It's horrible, in my opinion. Now, I like black olives, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's trash. And that's fine. You can have your opinions on there. I will die on the Burger King hill. I will die on the Burger King hill. Here we go with a question from Steve, coming off of Twitter X. Do I believe Jim Knowles leaves for the Oklahoma job? Believe it or not, I've not really chased this story down a lot, and I'm going to tell you why. It's going to make a ton of sense. Ohio State's playing for the national championship. Got to keep your eye on the prize. You got to stay focused. I have a lot of reasons of why I don't think it happens. I've certainly heard some things of why it could potentially happen. Why I don't think it happens. One, I think Brent Venables is a dead man walking at Oklahoma. It's not been successful there. Now, is it a case of Oklahoma's defense not being up to snuff? I mean, Oklahoma's defense played just fine against Alabama, in that crippling loss to the Tide. So I don't know if that's the big issue. I don't know if I want to hook my wagon to a coach that could be gone in 10 months. I just don't know. 2, if I'm a defensive coordinator, a top caliber defensive coordinator, why would I want to be the DC of a defensive-minded head coach? Now, I know, and I had conversations at dinner with some writers, and we talk, we gossip, we do all this stuff. Maybe this is a case of like a Chip Kelly coming in to handle all of that, like for Ryan Day on offense. And some of that makes sense. But then let's go back to answer one. Brent Venables is dead man walking right now, unless there's a serious turnaround in Norman. So, again, I don't know. Ohio State's not going to get outbid for coaching talent. I mean, we're not that far removed, though, from Gene Smith, then athletic director at Ohio State, saying, I don't really see us being in the market for any seven-figure assistant coaches. And a year later, Ohio State had $2 million assistant coaches. And now we fast forward to today, and Jim Knowles is a $2 million assistant coach. There are a couple of two with Chip Kelly, a couple of $2 million assistant coaches on the Ohio State staff. So there are a lot of times that Ohio State is going to say, we're not going to do X. And then 12 months later, they are absolutely doing X. As the sun starts to peek through, our room is here on the 63rd floor at the Westin Peachtree. So we're in the clouds because there's a low cloud cover. So if the lighting changes frequently, it's because I'm trying to let a little natural light in the room. So I'm not sitting in a cave here at the hotel. So to Steve's point, do I believe he leaves? As of now, I'm saying no, but I'm not putting it in pen. And I know that's a really wishy-washy horse crap answer, but there's just not enough there for me to be able to give you a fully baked answer. And I know that there's the concern that he didn't come out and just, pour cold water on it. But let's be cynical for a second. Is Jim Knowles in line for a raise from Ohio State? If they win the national championship, if they sit there and of 15 of their 16 games allow whatever 20 or fewer points or whatever it may be, really the only game that the defense kind of got whacked on was the first Oregon game. If he pours cold water on it, you lose negotiating position. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. Well, we'll give you a 3% cost of living adjustment and a ham at Easter. Or you could sit there and play the game a little bit and parlay $2 million a year into 2.6, 2.7. I would be happy with the 0.6 or the 0.7 million. I would be thrilled with that. So Ross Bjork, call me. I can't call a defense, though. I would not be a good replacement. You would all hate me. I would be fired by halftime of the Texas game. So don't worry. I'm not putting my hat in the ring if that job were to come open, but I don't think so. I hope that's enough of an answer for you, Steve. I just don't know. Neil Harris left Columbus, Georgia yesterday, back in the cold in Ohio. Yeah, I just changed one of those smart thermostats, kicked it up a couple of degrees. I have somebody coming in and checking on the house daily just to make sure nothing weird happens. Maybe they'll turn the faucets on to drips or whatever. I don't know, but it sounds horrible right now with the cold. Doug Shepard, 49-13, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I just turned in my prediction. Not sure if we're running it today or if we're running it tomorrow. The problem is with these types of road games, Mark is having to herd cats to get us to get our answers in. Honestly, with it being a night game, I think we should release it on Monday. That's not my call, but I got mine in. I'm not going to give you the score yet, but I will tell you my winner. I do think Ohio State wins. I certainly can see a path of where Notre Dame wins. I mean, I'm going to be objective enough, but Ohio State, I think, is a heavy favorite in my book. Tom always slacking. No, I mean, I love to give Tom a lot of grief, but I can't give him grief on any of these trips. He certainly outworks me on them. He's younger than me. He's got more energy than me. Maybe not more energy, but I think his gas tank goes deeper. Because I'm just been tired. I just get tired. He's out there, in the cold, doing stuff with the band. He's doing good work. I will deny ever saying that. Even if you take this clip and put it up there, I'll say it's a cheap fake. AI is getting pretty good, But Tom is not slacking. And I know you're not really saying that. Or maybe you are. Maybe in 6 weeks I'll feel differently and I'll just sit there and say I was under the influence when I sent kudos his way. Todd saying, hope you received your beaver nugs. Hold on a second. But somehow they got open. They got opened. And there were none gone. So I don't know what the hell happened. So I'm going to have to eat these while I'm here. Or go get a Ziploc bag or something. Ryan Day's beard. What's up, Kevin? Let's bring that trophy back to Columbus. I don't think they're going to let me put it in my bag. I think, they're flying like a charter flight. But I know what you're saying. That trophy, a second leg lamp trophy in the trophy podium or the trophy atrium of the Woody would sure have a nice look. They would have to completely redo everything because the feng shui would be all jacked up. Parity is important. Home games in the second round is needed, right, Kevin? I can make an argument either way on this. The atmosphere for the home game was fantastic. #Vols Twitter can be very, very rough at times. I didn't meet any jerks that were up from Tennessee. I think that is one thing it's really easy to pop off on social media under an anonymous name, whatever, Buckeye 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or, Big Vol 74, 75. But when you're dealing in person with people, I think it's a little, and it's an expenditure to go and do this stuff. Twitter is free for now. I pay $8 a month because I just want a blue check mark for my ego. And I actually monetize my Twitter. So I pay $8 and get about 15 back. So I'm rolling in it. If you told me I could get a 90% return of investment on anything, I just don't know how to get it on anything other than Twitter. But I digress. I love the bowl environment. When they talked about going to a 4-team playoff, I was an opponent of it because I didn't want anything to cheapen the bowl experience. I think the bowls are very important. I think it is still the legacy of college football. I don't want to see anything cut into it. Now, unfortunately, anything out of the New Year's 6 Access Bowl picture has been deemed largely irrelevant. Quote unquote, a meaningless exhibition game. And that's unfortunate, with opt-outs and everything else, and how Marshall just completely opted out of its game because it didn't have a team to field because of the portal. And then they got fined $100,000. Congratulations on winning your conference or whatever that situation is. But we're going to sit there and give you a 6-figure bill because you couldn't, your coach left, 35 players or whatever left. I don't know. It would make for easier travel concerns for everybody. I think it would make it easier for fans, at least of the home team, to see more games in person if you did home games. Now, it doesn't necessarily what's the difference of, let's just play a hypothetical. We're not going to use Ohio State as an example because what do you say? What are you saying? Ohio State's going to have to do this? No, we're not going to say that. Let's just say that Bowling Green wins the MAC, has a fantastic season, but is never going to get out of that bottom part of the bracket. And then they get to go to, I don't know, let's say Missouri, to take on Missouri. And they win the game. It's a great season for Bowling Green, and they win the game, and congratulations, you get to go on to another round and everything else. And then they get sent to Oregon. What's the difference of going all the way out to Oregon for a home game versus going out to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Now, so I mean, Oregon is happy, their fans, that they get to go and do that, but I guarantee you Oregon fans also probably would like to go to Pasadena, as long as they don't get the same outcome as what happened against Ohio State. So I don't know. I don't if I were the college football commissioner, czar, king, poobah, whatever, I certainly have an idea of how I would like to see things operate. But I think until I would really put things out on paper and thought about the pros and the cons and everything else, it's just good bar conversation. And the Big Me kickoff is essentially an online bar. No, I'm not drinking here at 2:58 p.m. Eastern time. A little early for me. I like to treat the show as that. When I was putting the show together, I'm going to have guests all the time. I like to talk. So I don't want to cut my time down by having a guest on. So I made the decision pretty quickly that this was going to be a one-man band. Now, there are going to be times I would have a guest. I'll have a guest on because it makes sense or whatever. But, I want to have the conversation with you guys. I want to be able to give you more than a 30-second answer. Again, the downside of it is that we fall hopelessly behind in our comments and we lose context of some things. But I see a lot of the same names show in and show out. So apparently I'm doing something right. Or you guys are really bored and don't want to replace anything on your dryer with your son and want to kill each other 2 or 3 times, a la Doug Shepard Sr. David here. I envy anybody that can go to the game. I've never been to one, but I've always been a fan and always will be. Now, you haven't been to any game? Or you haven't been to like a championship game or a bowl game? I see in your avatar, it does not necessarily look like that was a picture taken in Mansfield, Ohio. So it certainly seems like there would be some travel concerns for you. Now a lot of people who necessarily can't stay up with ticket prices go to the spring game. I'm just looking at how scruffy my beard is. I need to get this thing trimmed. You get 90,000 people, like legitimately 90,000 people at a spring game. That gets you into Ohio Stadium. You hear the band and everything else, but it's not necessarily great football. I mean, it's interesting. You're getting a chance to really see the next team. I think the spring game this year is going to be wildly, wildly intriguing. Gone will be so many people from the roster. You're going to need a program to know who's who. I mean, I won't. I mean, then again, you get a lot of number changes, and that's the thing that confuses the hell out of me. It takes me at least 2 months to learn the new roster numbers. But as for a game, you really, I don't need to tell anybody what they need to do. I don't listen to anybody's advice, and I'm a mess. But, try to make a game. I'm just telling you. I don't know where you are. And again, here's the problem. By the time I get to your answer, I won't even remember what the hell we were talking about. And I don't know if I had a producer, and I'm not looking for a producer on the show, but even if I had a producer, I don't know if I would be kept on time to be able to hit the follow-ups the way they should. Odysseus, did Tom and Tony buy you any Beaver merch? I did not ask for any merch. That's a big ask. I was very happy. I actually have 2 bags of nugs. I also was bought one by Dan Hope over at 11 Warriors. I introduced him to the greatness that is Buckeyes. And whenever he makes a trip through there, he remembers who was able to shine the light on Buckeyes. And I generally end up with a bag of nuggets or something like that. So that's pretty cool. McChickens, you look 37. Kevin, you're a beast. I'm something. I don't know. 37 was a long time ago. But, I try to convince the ladies I'm 37. I don't want to date my own age. Robert Howard, damn it, I didn't know you're live, Kevin. Yeah, this came together last second. We kind of had a quick powwow this morning of what are we doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the decision was made. We needed to have at least one live show today. And I told them, I said, you know what? I'm not going to try and chase anybody down to get on a show with me, or, if you guys want to do a show, that's fine. And I also posted on the Huddle board that I would at least do a show. So I took a couple-hour nap because I'm just tired. And I walked over to CVS, got a prescription sent here. CVS is open, pharmacy's not. I'm going to have to screw with that again tomorrow. And I was like, well, let's just do a show. But I wasn't going to sit there and set up a show at 2:30 and say, well, we'll do it at 4. I mean, I guess that's good for getting people into the show. If you hit that bell, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff for Buckeye Huddle, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Or I could just do a rolling start, put a show in, go to Twitter, announce the show, go to the board, announce the show, and then just do the show. It hasn't hurt our numbers. I'm looking right now at about 387 people at the moment between the 3 platforms. Something I am going to ask is, if you are watching us on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. I don't see the numbers that come back directly to me for YouTube. We don't have a great reporting system on that, but that is important because it gets us the distribution out to new fans that are looking for Ohio State content. So please hit that thumbs up there. We got a couple of thumbs ups on Facebook, so I appreciate that. If you're watching us Facebook, give us a thumbs up, a heart, a winky face, whatever you may have there. And if you're watching us on Twitter X, give us a heart there as well. But by far the best viewing experience, in my opinion, is going to be at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. I see a super chat just come in, so I will get to that here in a second. We do, supplement our site revenues through YouTube. So that is very important for us, as well as super chats. So we will get to that. And then I will pick up with where we were at. Super chats always go to the front of the line. And I make sure for certain that we do that. That is a big, important thing to me. Mike Farino, how's it going, Kevin? In your opinion on offense and defense, what position battle is best for Notre Dame, i.e. corners versus wideouts, linebackers versus tight ends, stuff like that? Over the course of the week over at Buckeye Huddle, I'm going to go back to where I was in terms of the comments. I've gone too far back. Let's see. Can I multitask without screwing this up too much? No, I probably can't. I've done, in order to win on offense for Ohio State, 5 items there. In order to win defense, 5 items there. Tail of the tape dropped yesterday. By the numbers dropped today. Tomorrow, my 3 shots, which is my bold predictions piece, will come out. But as for that, I think what I'm most interested in is Riley Leonard, the runner, versus the Ohio State run defense. Because we have seen Ohio State go against some mobile quarterbacks. Most recently, in my opinion, I would say Nico from Tennessee. I don't think that JT Tuimoloau is really who I'd have out there as spy. Cody Simon, Sonny Styles, somebody like that. But what is Riley Leonard going to be able to do? And I know you're saying the best situation. I don't know if this one's the best, but this is the one I'm most interested in. If Riley Leonard is able to extend drives and keep the Ohio State offense on the sidelines, I think that's very pivotal. I don't think we're going to see Notre Dame try to take the air out of the ball and limit this to 48 offensive plays and things like that. But there are other ways to be able to limit the amount of plays your opponent is running, and that is by keeping your offense out on the field. Notre Dame is not a huge explosives type of team. Now, Jeremiah Love against Indiana going 98 yards, that is a different story, but Indiana also looked like the Keystone Cops on that play. But I digress. Conversely, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that I'm going to be really interested to see what Xavier Watts, Notre Dame safety, looks like in terms of, does Ohio State really press them and force him to be more of a coverage guy than a walk up into the box type of guy? What is that going to be? Is Notre Dame going to stay as in a man defense? Are they going to sprinkle in more zone? Will Howard is a crafty veteran. I don't think you're going to be able to trick him a lot. I think there might be some instances where you can do some things where you can. Oh, I do see that I missed another super chat. It did not go into my alert. So, MH, we will get to that in a second. Apologies on that. I think that's going to be very interesting, but I think Jeremiah Love is going to prove to be the most difficult running back that they will have faced out of this 4-game season. And that is, I say that because of Dylan Sampson of Tennessee not being right going into that game, having some hamstring issues. I think that Sampson would have been the best back they would have faced if he were healthy, if he were December healthy. There's a difference between healthy, and December healthy. If he were December healthy, I still think he would have been the best back that they face. And that is not a slight of Jeremiah Love. That is not bulletin board material. Noon said that Jeremiah Love ain't no good. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think Dylan Sampson, your SEC Offensive Player of the Year, I think that he is a better back. But Notre Dame is more of a running back by committee. You still have Jadarian Price. You still have a couple of other runners, the way that they run their offense, as opposed to Tennessee, where it is Sampson and Sampson and Sampson and Nico and Sampson some more. So that's what I got there. MH with a super chat. In your opinion, who on Notre Dame would start for Ohio State? That is, that's a difficult question for me. One of the thoughts there, and I see where we are in terms of our conversation, so we should not skip a beat. I think that we've seen these Ohio State starters so much that it's hard to just pick in and just put somebody in. It's like, oh, well, here's a situation of where you would take, I don't know, Jordan Hancock off the field. I don't know. I think on the offensive line, I think especially with Ohio State's injuries, losing Josh Simmons, losing Seth McLaughlin, I think that there certainly are Notre Dame offensive linemen that would fit into the situation. Am I taking Riley Leonard over Will Howard? No. Am I taking Jeremiah Love over Quinshawn or Trevion? I really like Jeremiah Love a lot, but I'm quite happy with how Ohio State has used its two backs. Wide receiver, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Take Jeremiah Smith off the field. Hell no. Take Emeka Buka off the field. Hell no. Take Cardinal Tate off the field. Hell no. Tight end. I mean, Ohio State doesn't necessarily have a declared main tight end. You got Cass Merrick. You got G. Scott. I mean, I think that maybe you sit there and like Notre Dame's tight end could maybe fit into the mix just because of how they're established as kind of their alpha tight end. But I don't know. Defensively on the line, I mean, I really like Notre Dame's defensive line, but the way that Jack and JT are playing at edge, and the way that we're seeing Tyleek and Ty Hamilton play, I don't know. I mean, if Riley Mills was playing for Notre Dame, if he wasn't hurt, I think he's probably starting for Ohio State. You look at linebacker. I really don't want to take Sonny Styles or Cody Simon off the field. I mean, I still think that we still see some moments from Styles where you can tell he's learning the position, but his upside is so high. And then Cody Simon, I mean, in my mind, Cody Simon is the most underappreciated player on the team. And I'm not saying that from a point of where I think people just flat out don't appreciate him. I just think people don't appreciate him enough. He's playing very well. And then the secondary is so good. So that sounds super homerific, and I get it, but you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. And I'm in there with the trees right now. I'm having a hard time with that. And there are probably people who are like, God, Kevin, you're so blind. This guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. But we're talking about two teams that are here at the national championship. Yes, number 7 versus number 8 in terms of the seeding and everything else. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all lose their first game of the bracket. I mean, it's just, God bless football. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I just lost where I was. Let me find it. I saw it off here. All right, I know where we are. There's somebody, my favorite Amish stud. No, I went no shave November, and it went into December, and it went into January, and I'm too stupid to really trim this thing up. If I'm going to be serious about this, I have to go out and get beard oil and all this other stuff and have it thicken up. I'm afraid if I trim it, I'm going to look like, Splotches McGillicuddy, and I'm going to just shave it. And there's just not many more times that I'm going to sit there and be like, hey, let's do a 3-month investment and see what a beard looks like. Heath. Hi, Kev. I'm in Bloomington, and it's 3 degrees here, but lifelong Buckeye. You know what? You know what you need to do? You need to make a reservation to Jenko's Little Zagreb and have a steak for me. That was a really good steak. I was very surprised how good that was. I know that that's where all of the visiting media, when they're in town for basketball, go and eat there at the Little Zagreb. But happy to have you here, Heath Malcolmson. And 3 degrees. No, thank you. No, thank you. But hope to see more of you here on the Big Me Kickoff and all of our fine programming here at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. That includes Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning, Buckeye Weekly Podcast, Skull Session Recruiting Podcast, and so many others. The breakdowns Tom does with Ross Fulton. I don't know if that goes under Tomorrow Morning or another label, but you can get your entire Buckeye fix here at Buckeye Huddle here on YouTube, as well as on our Facebook page, as well as following our account on Twitter X. But of course, the best way to support us is signing up for BuckeyeHuddle.com. $4.99 for your first month. You're going to get the championship game. You're going to get all of that. If Ohio State wins, celebrations and parades and all of that good stuff. We're going into, I don't really expect much going into the February signing period, but portal moves. And then before you know it, we're in spring football. The season is going so late. Before you know it, we're going to be in spring football, Southern Swing. If you love us, show us that love. Show up, show out, be part of us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. $4.99 for your first month. Doug said Kings of the North just finished. Should be more people jumping in shortly. Yeah, they're definitely here. I've seen Doug and I've seen Bill throughout the couple of days that we've been here in Atlanta. I try to be mindful if I know when another show is going to be on, to try not to compete, not to thin out the numbers. Sometimes, I'll have somebody's like, oh, I meant to catch a show, but I was over there. And then I'm like, well, why were you over there in the first place? But I get it. And again, this show was not planned. It was planned, but it was not scheduled. So that's what you get sometimes. El Suzabo, Doug, that Eaton guy in Kingston North chat offered you 1 free ticket to the game tomorrow if you message him. I think you left, so you want to know. Only 1, though. So look at me helping people out, even on a show that's not my own show. Mozart's Ghost loves the hat. Yeah, I had to buy it. It was not a media gift, unfortunately. And I bought this shirt. It's kind of a quarter zip, and I really like it. And it was much more expensive than I wanted to spend. Really didn't want to buy anything, but I realized I don't have much gear that's got CFP on it. We did get a sweatshirt, which is really nice, that I like. I might wear it like to fly home. I haven't decided yet, but the hat is nice. I'm sure you can go to the Rose Bowl game website and order it there. It was $40, but I had somebody tell me, it's like, you really don't buy hats anymore, do you? I'm like, not really. And they're like, that's what hats cost. I remember being pissed when a hat was $20. I was like, I don't want to spend more than like $15.99. But those were initially when trucker hats were out. I think it was probably back then. We're in a Coca-Cola city, but I'm drinking Sunkist because I think we have like RC Cola. I think RC's got like a deal with the college football playoffs. So drinking Sunkist, but we do have Deja Blue water. But I wanted to have something to keep my vocal cords from drying up and cracking and dying on me. Doug Shepard, hit the thumbs up. Absolutely there. Let me keep scrolling here. If I miss some questions, it's because we've fallen so far behind, and it's just it just kind of happens. Best place to cover a game: rose, cotton, sugar, fiesta, orange, or peach. I've talked about this on other shows, and doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about it on this show. Everything's fresh in my mind. There are good aspects to every game. And if I could Frankenstein a game, if I could take pieces and put it all together, and I see another super chat has come in, so I will get to that after this answer. The venue has to be the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl, and this is pre-fires, and I really don't want to bring the tone down by talking about that, but if you're able to contribute to the fire victims of Southern California, I ask you to please consider. I'm originally from Southern California. It just breaks my heart. Didn't live in an area that was affected, but the fires did get close to the Rose Bowl. But getting, off the serious note, the Rose Bowl is the best venue. I think the Cotton and the Peach have the best hospitality, media hospitality, and some other things there. The Sugar Bowl has Bourbon Street. And to get serious again, too, heart goes out to all the lives that were lost after that senseless, needless act. I'm not going to get into the other points of that one, but, my heart goes out to the victims of what happened on Bourbon Street. And then like the Fiesta Bowl, for the media, they put us up in the nicest hotel. We stay at a JW Marriott property. And, but I think of just for covering a game, all things considered, the Rose for me. But I know there are going to be people on the beat who will fight with me about it, because the Rose also believes, because we're the Rose Bowl, we don't need to do X, Y, and Z because we're the Rose Bowl. But I feel like I'm home being back in SoCal, even though I haven't lived in Southern California in like 107 years. The Rose Bowl for me, but I think that if I talk to members of the media, if I talk to other people on the beat who don't have the emotional tie to an area, probably Fiesta. I don't like where we sit. I don't like where the press box is at the Fiesta. I think the sight lines are horrible. I think that there's just some other issues there. I haven't covered a Sugar Bowl since, I think the last time I covered a bowl game in New Orleans was, I know. It was the 2020 semifinals when Ohio State kicked the crap out of Clemson. But that wasn't a Sugar Bowl experience. That wasn't a Sugar Bowl experience. Bourbon Street was dead. We were in the middle of all of that COVID junk. And while I was able to be out on the street and doing this and doing that and everything else, I mean, it was like going to Disneyland and all the rides were closed and all the food vendors were closed, but you still had to stand in line. For what? I don't know. But, so I guess prior to that, I have to go back to the year, 14 in the semifinals when they beat Alabama. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to mark where that is. Odysseus at 242. Let me go find the super chat. I did that one. That was Mike Farino. Another Mike Farino. Fun fact: Ryan Day has only ever lost 2 games when he was more than 8-point favorites. 2021 Oregon and that team up north this year. Line is 8.5. Last I looked. Yeah, I think I saw 8.5 yesterday. No betting in Georgia on apps and things like that. So I've not really been playing on a lot of that stuff, but line got bet up to like 9.5. I think it's come back down to 8.5. We will look there, but Ohio State does pretty well in those types of situations. I had something I was going to say as I was scrolling down to this, and I have forgotten. So let's try and go back up here. I saw some comments about the Dodgers. We will get to that. Ho hum, another day, another Dodger signing, picking up Tanner Scott, a reliever, fixing the bullpen, which is an issue. All right, we've gone through some of these things. We've gone through that. Here we go. I think that's it. I'm joining. If that's about Buckeye Huddle, yes. Oh, that was what I was going to say. Not to be the sales. I'm Cal Worthington and my dog Spot. But $5 super chat would essentially get you a 1 month, one month, your first month at BuckeyeHuddle.com. So just check that out. Let me think here. Mozart's Ghost. Leonard Moore has been great for them as a freshman. Yeah, Leonard Moore in the secondary has been fantastic. But who are you taking off the field for Ohio State? And the thing is, you got to remember, it's not as easy as saying, well, Ohio State is playing 3 corners, so you can just take a corner off and put another corner on. I mean, are you, Jordan Hancock is essentially a safety. I mean, he's the center fielder. I mean, you got your adjuster and you got, all this other stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean you fit into that position. I think that there are going to be people who are going to say, well, IGB is very handsy and physical. And, maybe that they're, maybe if you were given the opportunity to bring in an equal talent and have somebody whose technique is a little bit different. And I'm here to have that discussion. I'm not shutting you out. I'm not saying, well, that's just a dumb idea. No. But you watch this team for 15 games already, as Atlanta PD or Fire is like having a convention outside, it sounds like, of the hotel room. I don't know if you can hear it through the speakers or not, but there are a lot of sirens going on. Life in the big city. I don't know, but Mozart's Ghost, you bring up a very good point. Let's keep scrolling here. Mozart's Ghost again is Steak and Shake bringing back beef tallow for the fries. I'll check it out. Yeah, I live in Pickerington. I've not hidden the fact of where I live. I'm not, just some dude, but we have a Steak and Shake there. I will check them out at that point. I do like their shakes. Guilty pleasure, once in a while, I will just go through the drive-thru and get a strawberry shake just for the hell of it. Rusty Jesse, did you eat at Buckhead Diner? We're not anywhere really close to Buckhead, so nothing there. Is it still open? I don't know. For those who don't know my history, I lived in Atlanta in '94. I did an internship at CNN Sports. See another super chat. We'll get to that in a second. I got up to Buckhead a lot there. What about the varsity? The CFP feeds us 3 meals a day. The company appreciates it that we're not going out and expensing meals. So no, I haven't done any of that. There is a version of the varsity at the airport. I could see myself getting a chili dog and some onion rings there. I don't necessarily need to go and have a sit-down meal before I fly out on Tuesday evening. Got to stay in town. If Ohio State wins, there's a press conference on Tuesday, which we will bring to you live on the channel. So you can't book a morning flight and then just say, well, I'll delay it if I have to stick around. So no, I haven't done that. We've been let me cross we out. I've been very delinquent on us doing hungry huddles. But part of the issue, too, is a lot of these trips are so quick. They're so quick, we don't have a lot of fart around time to go and do some of these things. It's a lot easier. Hey, we're going to Penn State. Let's stop and do Altoona-style pizza. Hey, we're going to going to Minnesota. Let's go get a Juicy Lucy. I mean, I think it's easier to bake that in. Media doesn't stay all in the same hotel for football games. Everybody's kind of on their own to book whatever they want to book. So none of that's there. On this trip, we all kind of get together. We're all, well, not always. For whatever reason, a couple of the bowls have had a hard time working with their hotel partners to have enough rooms. There were overflow hotels for the Cotton Bowl, and there are overflow hotels for this game. So, but generally, we're all hanging out together after hours in the media room, having a couple beers and talking. So there's not been a lot of venturing out. Today was kind of a venturing out day. I had writers from a couple of other sites are like, hey, we're going over to the Fan Fest to go check out the CFP shop. I'm like, I don't have any money. I spent $100 on this. No, I don't want to go and do that. Let me jump back to see if that is a new super chat. I believe it is. That was the Mike Farino one. I don't think that's it. That was another Mike Farino one. Here we go. Fort Wayne Buckeye. Let me have a sip of my Sunkist. Losing my voice. Nooner. I'm sensing a big game for Trey, both running and receiving. He looked so fresh the last few games. Also think we'll see a little bit more of him and Q in the backfield together. Trey as a receiver has been, a revelation here as of late. We all have known that he can catch the ball, and that you can. I mean, the wheel has been there all season, so I don't disagree. The two backs, running some 21, two backs, one tight. At this point, you're not saving anything. You're not holding anything back for Texas in September. Well, we'd really like to run this, but we'd kind of like to keep it off tape. You're a different team at that point. It goes into a different column. Smoke them if you got them. If you have plays, you run them. Now, I'm also going to say, don't try and be something that you're not, and do things completely different. Okay, we're going to go out and we're going to run the veer. This in this game, they'll never see it coming. You can't do that. But I think you can see some of it in short yardage and things of that nature. But I mean, you freaking run everything that you have that you can execute. There is no reason whatsoever to hold anything back. Now, if you have something you're like, well, we like it, we just never hit the play in practice, probably don't run that. Run the stuff that works. But, I think what works is throwing it to Trey for certain. And, two backs, we've seen a little bit. Could we see a little bit more? Maybe. I don't know. I tried to ask Chip what the game plan was, but he wouldn't tell me. Damn it. But, I don't know. Another super chat from 0144. How does Notre Dame have the pass rush and coverage guys to make Will Howard have to hold on to the ball and have to look at his second and third reads? I think that Notre Dame certainly has a pass rush. Losing Riley Mills does not help the situation, but I think that they could speed Will Howard up, absolutely. And the coverage, I think, they've got a fantastic secondary. I mean, you lose Benjamin Morrison, 100 months ago or whatever that was. I mean, that should be a big issue, but they, I think that they do a very good job. I mean, for those of you who are frequent members of Buckeye Huddle and have read my member-only breakdown tale of the tape on Notre Dame, I'm pulling up. If I were smart, I would share screen and show you my spreadsheet. I mean, it's multicolors, and I mean, you're probably like, I don't understand your methodology of how you come to some of your things. It works for me. I mean, we all have things that we do, and it's like, well, it's just kind of my own shorthand. But, Notre Dame, number 2 in the nation in passing yards allowed, number 1 in pass efficiency defense. I mean, again, that doesn't necessarily mean the whole world, because I'm sitting here looking 2, 3, 6. Notre Dame, in its 15 games this season, 6 of them have been against bottom 30 pass offenses. And Notre Dame has only played 3 teams in the top 30 nationally in pass offense, and one of them is Georgia. And I still laugh. That Georgia is in there because Carson Beck couldn't throw. And then he got hurt, and they brought in Gunnar Stockton, who really couldn't throw. How the hell they got to 12, I do not know. I do not know how that happened. But and where is Ohio State as a passing offense? Ohio State's 25th in the nation, 265.1 yards per game. So I looked there. The only 2 teams that they played that were better than that in passing offense were USC, who hung 35 on them, and then Georgia, who again was on its second quarterback. Ohio State slightly better numbers than Louisville. And again, I'm looking at yardage there, and accumulation stats are not always the best indicator. We do not have a spot on the scoreboard, the main scoreboard, that's like it. We measure points. We don't measure yards. So don't get caught up and fall in love with yardage numbers as a true indicator. I've seen games before many times of where teams between the 20s, just marching up and down the field and settling for threes and turning over and everything else. So that doesn't mean jack. So that's my thoughts kind of on that one. Mike Farino, screens should probably be a big part of the game plan with how much Notre Dame likes to blitz. They had issues at times with it against SC and Louisville. If Ohio State only had a screen pass in its repertoire, If I could only remember one that they hit and where it worked and they went for 75 yards in one play on a drive, really when Ohio State needed to get momentum back in a game. Oh, damn. I just can't seem to remember when that has ever happened. Oh, wait. I do. Against Texas. Yeah, I think that there should be some of that there. I think they need to be ready for that. I think that needs to be on the laminated card, if you will. Chip Kelly calling calling stuff down and everything else. I'm just going to get dinged from the swear police on that one. So, yeah, I agree. Let me hit this one before I try to get back up to where we were. Well, somebody already got it. So, Chris saying, how many yards did SC have against Notre Dame? And David jumps in with 557 yards for USC versus Notre Dame. I can even break it down a little bit more. Let me click on the right line. SC ran for $197 and threw for 360. It was 28 carries for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. And on the passing side, that was 27 of 49 for 360, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in that game. So there you go. I know I'm going to miss a lot of questions as we jump back down into we jump down to get our super chats, and then I try to go back up here. I'm seeing some scores up here. I will try and punch some of these through. Let's see your score predictions as well. As I said, mine is either coming out later today, maybe tomorrow. Mark controls the content calendar on that story, so I don't know for certain. Maybe I'll give you my score as we go. As we're here a little over 1 hour, so here in TV, you're supposed to reset at the top of the hour. You're watching the Big Me Kickoff. I'm your host, Kevin Noon. It is Sunday, January 19th. We're still like 28 hours away from kickoff, Ohio State, Notre Dame, for the entire shebang, the national championship in the balance. Bonus read to one of our great sponsors, Grateful Griddle, food truck in Columbus. Book them now for your events, whatever you want, smash burgers, they will work with you on a menu. They're fantastic. I don't have the read myself because I've not gotten them involved yet with Big Me Kickoff, but check them out at gratefulgriddle.com. So yes, 31-17, we believe. David Greenshield in between 24-13 to 27-13. It's going to give the ND defense some credit. I hear that. Warpug, 35-17. I don't see the Irish getting beyond 17, win or lose. Oh, my God. If Ohio State lost this game 17-13, I may just stay in Georgia. If that happens. I don't want to have to deal with that crap. I want to get here to something Mike has. Again, I don't get a chance to read these things all the way through, so I never know what I'm getting. So when I'm reading it to you, it's the first time I'm seeing it. I watched some Notre Dame YouTube channels lately to get some of their insight, and I find it odd, the difference between their perspective and the national media's perspective of the game. I have some friends on the Notre Dame beat. There are some people I don't know at all. I mean, I know a lot of people in the industry, but it gets younger and younger each year. I'm certainly getting older and older. And there are some people that really see Notre Dame as coming in and being able to, assert their will. Let me answer a text message. Somebody be there soon. People wanted me to come down to the media room and drink beer and watch football, if I must. But I'm going to spend more time with my friends here first. I'll be there soon. I think the thing is that you sit there and you look at Notre Dame's scoring offense, some things like that. I mean, Notre Dame's scoring offense, 37 points a game. They're not playing Stanford where they scored 49. They're not playing Navy where they absolutely, sunk the ships 51-14. Florida State 52-3. Let's look at the last 3 games. Why the last 3 games? Those are your college football playoff games. Those are against teams that we believe are the top 12 teams in the nation under the math and the voodoo of how they put this together. They scored 27 against Indiana, 23 against Georgia, 27 against Penn State. I'm not a math major, but that means that they're scoring less than 27 points a game when you throw that 23 in there. So let's just call it 25 and a half. I don't want to do the math, carry the one, any of that crap. So 25 and a half, which is, 11 and a half points under their scoring average. Ohio State has scored in its 3 games 42, 41, and 28. So at that point, Ohio State is definitely outscoring them. Now, it's not apples to apples. How do you quantify Indiana, Georgia, Penn State versus Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas? I guess we could look at, some scoring defense numbers. All 3 of these teams on both sides are top 30 national scoring defenses. But I look at the Ohio State side. Tennessee was 8th. Oregon was 16th. Texas was 4th. That looks a little bit better than Indiana at 6th. Penn State also listed at 8th. I think these numbers got adjusted a little bit. It is really hard to track national numbers during the postseason. And Georgia 23rd. So does it come down to Ohio State coming out there and psyching themselves out? Does Ohio State come out and suddenly feel that they're going against the team up north? Do you have a situation like that? I don't think so. I've had a lot of people say that, well, this team is constructed, at least defensively, a lot like Michigan, Notre Dame. And I'm like, wow, I don't see the defensive tackles like that. I see some positions where I think Notre Dame is better than the Michigan defense. I see some positions where I think the Michigan defense is better than Notre Dame. Hashtag spoiler alert, 31-17 is my final of how I see the game going. I know, again, I'm here on Mike's comment. I'm not down at the bottom of the comments where I should be in the current numbers. Our numbers keep growing here as we're an hour and 6 minutes into the show. 463 people between the 3 platforms. I want to thank everybody for spending some time with me here on Sunday, January 8th, to talk about the game. I promise you we will have another show pregame for sure tomorrow. And then set your calendars post-game, probably starting with a minute or 2 left in the game. Win or lose. How about win or win? That sounds better. Win or win. Mark Givler, probably Devin Radcliffe. I think Garrett Seawright will be jumping on as well. Tom, Tony. I'll be making comments off from the side. Post-game interviews, all sorts of stuff. Get ready for a show that's probably going to go 3-4 hours, something like that, as we celebrate the final game of the 2024 college football season. But we got so much stuff coming up here at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You don't want to miss out any of our video content, youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. $4.99 for your first month. Can't even buy a McRib. You can't buy a McRib right now. Hey, McChickens, how many McChickens can you get for $4.99? Let me know on that one. But for the price of certainly less than 2 McChickens, I would imagine you can get a full month, your first month at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Really supports us here. We love doing our YouTube content. This is something that we do as part of the product, but BuckeyeHuddle.com is the product. Let us know that you love us by being a member over there. Bucknuts, Mr. Bucknuts 2713. Kenneth, question here. Who is not picking Ohio State? Pete Sampson of The Athletic is picking Notre Dame. I know that for a fact. Barrett Sallee of SiriusXM and CBS is picking Notre Dame. Those are the only 2 I know of right now. Now, I'm going to admit I'm not going out searching out content at this point to see what other people are saying. I would be really surprised if anybody on our staff is picking Notre Dame. There are going to be some people who are going to pick Notre Dame, but I think that Ohio State is kind of the overwhelming favorite out there right now. Odyssey is saying The Athletic. Now, I don't know, is that The Athletic in general? Is Pete Sampson speaking for The Athletic? He is based in the South Bend area, or at least used to be. He came out of the ranks of covering Notre Dame specifically. Pete is a good friend. I'm not saying any of this by saying, oh, Homer. No, he does a good job. But again, you get embedded with your team. You get embedded with a team, and sometimes it's hard to get away from all of that. It's very rare that I pick against Ohio State because there are very few times that Ohio State shouldn't win the game. I think the last time, I'm pretty sure I picked against them in the 2020 championship game against Alabama. I'm pretty sure. may be the last time I picked against them, though. Don't tell anybody. Let's just keep scrolling. We're going to have to start speeding it up a little bit as we are an hour, 10 minutes in. Jeff Johnson, the SEC crew, throwing 23 flags in their most recent game. Any concern? I liken this to baseball. Be consistent. If you are going to be giving, if you're going to be calling the low strike, you better call it both ways. Ohio State by far has the worst record of penalties being called against its opponent, certainly offensive holding. Notre Dame really isn't in a huge advantageous position either with penalties being called there. I think with IGB's technique, it could be a little bit concerning if they throw some back shoulder fades and, he gets in there and gets handsy. I think you also kind of know the stage you're on. You don't want it to become a ref show. But when you sit there and you're like, okay, I should maybe swallow the whistle a little bit, do you get uneven at that point? And it's not a conscious effort of, F Ohio State. We're going to just, we're only going to call penalties against them. No, I'm not insinuating that whatsoever. I'm just saying that when you're having to add an extra step to the subroutine of, hey, we kind of have a reputation of throwing a lot of flags. Let's try and bring that out. Are you not acting in the moment and to do the mechanics breakdown? So I don't know. Mozart's Ghost, Mansfield, Ohio is where you go if you want a speeding ticket. Haven't stopped in Mansfield in a while. I've driven through it on my way up to Cleveland, obviously, but that's that. Let me keep scrolling again. I apologize if I move some questions, but it's the way the show goes. I'm 40 minutes behind on questions. Mark Fetter says, "Go Bucks." Hey, good to see you, Mark. Vegas charges $50 for a tiny bottle of Dayquil. Yeah, there's been a robust market of people trading over-the-counter medicines on the trip as everybody has been beaten down by one ailment or another. I owe somebody from Letterman Row a couple of doses of Dayquil. I'm going to have to make good on that here at some point. Robert Howard, Kev, Tom showed us a big wall of pickles, you name it, everything but pickles. Sad. Woof. McChicken says I should go shirtless. I'll get more views. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. This isn't a dad bod. This is a granddad bod. I don't want any. I don't need any of that out there right now. Doug Shepard says Riley Leonard is a tough MFer. He is. Terry Slusher says that Notre Dame allowed 388 by NIU, 436 to SC. How many yards will Ohio State have? Let's look here. I don't have the things combined. I mean, Ohio State had, I think a lot of it depends on how many plays you have. I think the plays matters. I mean, Texas, they didn't have a ton of plays. They had 289 in the air and 81 on the ground, sack adjusted. So if you sit there and you buy too much into yardage, you'd think that maybe Ohio State lost the game because of that. But, you look at the other side. I mean, Ohio State had 6 more passing yards than Texas and only had 23 more rushing yards. It's what you do there. And Jack Sawyer's 75-yard or 83-yard scamper doesn't show up there. It's not total yardage. So you don't always necessarily get a true indicator there. You go to the Oregon game, 189 on the ground, 319 in the air. You go to the Tennessee game, 156 on the ground, 317 in the air. I think it's going to be somewhere between Tennessee and Texas as for what the yardage is going to be. I don't know. Let's say that Ohio State runs for $120 and that Ohio State throws for 275. Again, I'm saying 31 points. So this isn't shaping up for a game where I think that Ohio State's going to have 600 yards of total offense. If you have 600 yards of total offense and you only put up 31 points, what are you doing? I mean, where did it all break down? So I don't know. McChicken is really convinced that I'm trying to go Amish. I don't know. When I get home, I may watch Witness. How about that? Or Kingpin. My two favorite Amish movies, Witness and Kingpin. Jason Warner says it was -7 in Wyoming. It's 20 now. Go Bucks. Well, at least it's not -7 at the moment. No Longer the Man says 31-14. There you go there. Brad K. Buckeye Huddle's a great community. Kevin is absolutely correct. Try it out and give them a chance. You won't regret it. 100. Thank you so much, Brad K. I appreciate it. Would you happen to be Brad Keselowski? I know that it's probably no. The NASCAR driver, he is a Michigan fan. My ex-brother-in-law worked at Penske with him, and he is an Ohio State fan and would just give him a lot of ribbing during the good years of that series. Doug Shepard agrees. Buckeye Huddle is the best. Join up. You won't regret it. Cheryl sees Ohio State winning by 14 points. Doug Shepard Sr., is it possible to buy a membership for another person? Yes, it is. There is a gift option. I know you and I, we trade text messages. Let me, after the show, give me a couple minutes to get down to the media room to watch a little NFL football. I'll try and get you the information there or get you in touch with Mark. It is a great gift. If you're already a member, it is a great gift to get your favorite Buckeye fan involved over at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Mika Hanna, who I haven't seen yet today, she again, I'm 40 minutes behind. She could be here, and she's probably having a fit that I'm not noticing that she's on here. But she got on with a gift membership, and she's been a fantastic member over at Buckeye Huddle. She lives, eats, dies with recruiting, so it's all there. I see a super chat coming in. All right, let me get caught up here. Here we go from Chris Lane. I didn't see that one. I'm poor, but thanks, Kevin. Go Bucks. Chris, the fact that you took the effort to give us a super chat means the world to me. Next time around, just sign up for Buckeye Huddle. I know that it's $4.99 is just your first month, and I don't want to put anybody in a bad spot. But the fact that you took the time to give us a super chat means the world to me. We've had $250 super chats before, and that means the world to us as well. But every little bit means so much because it's the intention. It is the intention to give to the show to make all of this possible. So don't for a minute feel that a $2 super chat is any less than a $250 super chat. Now, if you want to give somebody else, if you want to give a $250 super chat, I'll make Tom. Well, I'll suggest, I can't make Tom do anything. I'll suggest that he eats 2 jars of pickles. Here we got Mike Farino. I think of all the teams, OSU is the worst possible matchup for Notre Dame. OSU struggled with Texas and UM, 2 teams with DTs that are elite at stopping the run. ND without Riley Mills just doesn't have that. Notre Dame is 41st in the nation in run defense. Teams that Ohio State has played that average more yards per game on the ground: Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State, Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas. Oh, wait, I just missed a couple that I didn't have highlighted. Michigan State. So Ohio State has certainly gone against some great running defenses this year. I think that Ohio State is a bad matchup for Notre Dame in that regard and in some other regards. So it's going to be interesting. I'll ask this other question. We're going to take this to about the 1:30 mark. So we're going to go about 12 more minutes. I'm going to miss a lot of questions. I apologize. Super chats get you to the front of the line, of course, trying to get to those. But, we appreciate every contribution we get, every question we get, every kind word that we get. Would you, as an Ohio State fan, and I am assuming everybody who is here is an Ohio State fan, maybe there are 1 or 2 trolls that are hiding who just aren't posting. I don't know. Would you rather face Notre Dame or Penn State? They played each other, obviously, in the semifinals. Which is the matchup that you would have preferred to see? And I'm not asking for like a long diatribe of why I could make the argument of it would have been hilarious for it to be an all Big Ten final if it would have been Penn State. It would have been awesome to sit there and as an Ohio State fan to be like, well, we got this. Big game James, he can't do anything. So, I think on Notre Dame, I think there's a whole historical aspect. Ohio State certainly has owned the series as of late. It's not 1936 anymore. So, and we're starting to get some answers in, and we're going to kind of rip through those, but I do have something I want to get to before that. But I watched that game in Dallas and I was very interested. It wasn't like it was like, oh, I hope they don't draw this team because that's going to be bad. I think there were points where it's like, well, there's the hilarity factor to go play two Big Ten teams in the heart of the South. Now, my feeling is Atlanta is not a southern city. It is a northern city in the South. It is a huge transplant city. That doesn't mean that they're not native Georgians here, native Atlanteans here, but it is kind of like southern Chicago. And I don't mean South Chicago. It's southern Chicago, as to a lot of people from all over the country and the world, mind you, end up in Atlanta. But to be playing in the building where they play the SEC championship game and you're playing for the national championship with two Big Ten teams would have been hilarity at the highest of levels. But historically, I think that the Notre Dame game, I think that's the game that I wanted to see, from just the intrigue. Former Ohio State linebacker Marcus Freeman, now the head coach of Notre Dame. Al Washington, former Ohio State assistant over there. And then on the other way, you got Lorenzo Styles Jr. And while he's not a gigantic part of the scheme at the moment, he comes over. Ohio State, has certainly gone and raided the Notre Dame coaching staff in the past. All of that is there. So either way you have it. I mean, we know what the game is. It's Ohio State, Notre Dame. Nobody's cashing in money in the bank briefcase. Nobody's going to come in and, tag in. But either way, I think it would have been a really exciting game. Let me find this other one, and then we'll get into your answers. David saying Buckeye Huddle does have some great content. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm writing more than I've ever written, just because of the nature of game after game after game. And a lot of these pieces I'm writing, I don't want to write about Michigan State. At the end of the day, you're Michigan State. It doesn't really matter. But playing Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and now Notre Dame. I mean, this is a big boy legitimate path to a national championship. You're not playing an FCS game and a MAC game and like Tulane. I mean, you are playing blue bloods. You're playing the big boys. So don't let anybody try to tell you that if Ohio State wins tomorrow, don't let anybody try to diminish it. And the only people out there trying to diminish it are the people up north. The people up north right now, well, we beat you. Okay. And every year, the 72 Dolphins drink champagne mixed in with their Metamucil when the Chiefs or whoever drop a game along the way, but then still go on to win the damn Super Bowl title. There's got to be a new mindset. And let me say the whole statement here, because there's never going to not be a mindset of the importance of beating Michigan. That is uber important. Don't get me wrong. Don't let me get taken out of context. But how the NC2A season is going to work is different now. It's different now because you're playing 14, 15, 16, up to 17 games. You don't have to go 17-0. I don't think we're going to see a 17-0 team ever. I think that we're going to see a loss or two losses, but damn it, those losses better happen in the regular season. You lose in the postseason and you're done. So don't let anybody tell you that this was not, the most deserving situation. And each year it's going to be that. You're going to have to go through a gauntlet. And even as the bracket rules change, maybe in 26 or whatever, you're still going to have to go through the Ohio States and the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world. That's what the path is going to be. And I think the sport is better off for it. It's a lot of football, but I am not here. I am not here for less football. I am here for more football. I mean, I think there is at some point there's a limit, but I'm not sure what that limit is. We ain't there yet. Let me go through here again. The question is, would you rather see Ohio State play Notre Dame or Penn State in the championship game? We can't change it. We're not tagging anybody in, as I said. No money in the bank briefcase for all of my wrestling fans out there. None of that's going on. But as the two teams that played in the national semifinal at the Orange Bowl, which one would you have rather seen? Silver Sleuth says Notre Dame. Doug Shepard says, when I saw Penn State running all over Notre Dame, I knew they would be in trouble playing the Buckeyes. Mike Farino, about equal. Penn State scores more just because of a rematch. And honestly, rematches, normally you get less scoring. Remember when Ohio State played Wisconsin in the regular season in Columbus several years ago, just smacked them around, and I think it was like 28-14 in Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game. Generally you're going to have less scoring. You had 63 points for Ohio State, Oregon, in Eugene, with Ohio State coming up a point short. You had 62 points in the Rose Bowl. I just call that one a wash. Jeff Johnson, Notre Dame. Lynn's Breezy, Ohio. I was saying I would have preferred to see Notre Dame until we actually got Notre Dame. Sometimes the hypothetical and the actual are not, don't always, lock up. You sit there and you have more time to kind of dig into the team, and then just the fears come in and everything else. And you're not in the locker room. I'm not in the locker room. We got to go watch like 4 seconds of practice yesterday. You don't know. There's a lot of unknown, and Lord knows we've seen Ohio State teams that should have taken care of business and won games by 30 points go out and lay an egg. I was in Iowa the year that they got beat by Iowa. I was at Purdue the year that they got beat by Purdue. I was in Arizona in 2006. They sat there and won the national championship game. They won 2 Ohio State Team Up North game. Got fat and happy on the award circuit. Some dude named Urban Meyer and his stupid Gators sat there and put the smackdown on Ohio State. Roy Hall also tackled and knocked Ted Ginn Jr. out of the game. But that's why you got to watch. That's why you got to watch the game. We can't run the season on. This isn't NC2A 25. You can't sim the season. You can't simulate it. You can't just put it through. You gotta play the games. Silver Sleuth, yes, Mike. Rematch, no good. Jason Warner, Indy defense, PSU offense. Interesting on that one. Brian Neff, Notre Dame. TROY. I'm going to say it like that because of the periods there. Really didn't matter. They were almost mirror images of each other, their styles of play. I'm just going to keep scrolling through here. Silver Sleuth. I have 2 Buckeye cousins that live in Atlanta. I spent a lot of time in Atlanta because of recruiting and everything else. I like Atlanta and I hate Atlanta at various points. I hate it when I'm behind the wheel and having to drive. A lot of good places to eat. People are relatively friendly. Again, it is a melting pot of people from all over the country and the world. So you sit there and you think you're going to be talking to some good old Southern guy, and then, you find out that he's from upper Wisconsin or something like that and total jerk. Mozart's Ghosts would rather have faced Georgia, to be honest. Georgia would have gotten smoked. They would have gotten smoked. They have no offense. They have 0 offense. And I understand what Mozart's Ghost is getting at. When did Georgia become a team that can't run the ball? When did we get to that point? They went from a team that could run the ball very, very much to a team that started doing running back by committee, but that was just code for we can't run the ball, to flat out they just can't run the ball. And then the whole passing situation and everything else. And I'll be interested to see how quickly can Ryan Montgomery get back from his injury. I'm not saying he could come in and at any point win that job as a true freshman, but what's the quarterback situation going on in Athens right now? And I'm showing growth. I didn't even make a driving fast joke about Alabama right now. Mozart's Ghost, SEC always dodging us when we're hot. Those Ohio State's already beat 2 SEC teams. They beat Tennessee and they beat Texas. It's weird saying that Texas is an SEC team, but they are. But yeah, there you go with that. Brian DeGroff, what's up, Kevin? I'm late. I'm sorry, and we're starting to wind down on the show. This will all be available on the replay. Again, we're going to have at least one live show tomorrow, maybe two. Tom and Tony may do the traditional pregame show. I may do something like the pregame show, the pregame show. That doesn't mean we're going to do anything at 7 a.m. I'm going to have the media parties tonight. I'm going to have a couple of pops. So I'm not getting up at 7 to do a show, but be sure, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Don't miss any content unless they do not alert you. I've been told that the bell doesn't work all the time. Kind of like Taco Bell. It doesn't work all the time either. But, we're a lot more content coming up between pregame shows, the postgame show, everything else coming up here at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We're going to get a little bit here. The Ohio State Buckeyes, Notre Dame and Ohio State taking over ATL. Told the story earlier in the show. Again, this was not a well advertised show, so some people are coming in late. I'm not here to judge on all of that. I ran over to CVS only to find out that the pharmacy itself was closed. So I'm going to have to do it again tomorrow, but starting to see more and more Ohio State and Notre Dame fans. Rode down in the elevator with a very nice family that were Notre Dame fans out on the street. Saw, I would say 60-40 was the breakdown of what I saw, but I went 0.3 miles each way. I didn't walk to the stadium and back or anything like that. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the breakdown is. Tickets are just outrageously priced. So everybody who's got a ticket in hand, I'm super stoked for you. People who might be down in town hoping to find one, I wish you all the best. There is the Hudson Grill that is near the stadium. That is your big Ohio State bar. If you do not get into the stadium, I think that might be a fun place to watch the game. I think like leading up to the game, that might be a great place to get a pop or something like that. Get involved in, as much as you can. Check out all the Ohio State stuff. Go out. What I'm going to be interested in when we do a show like Wednesday, barring all hell breaking loose, is a sleep day for me. We're going to get on Thursday. I'm going to ask people to send me pictures of their favorite piece of Ohio State gear that are down here at the game that they picked up. Kevin, I'm posting my email address so people can send me pictures of it because I can't necessarily take pictures from people. But my email address is still my old email address from a previous site, kevin@buckeyegrove.com. You can reach out to me there at kevin@buckeyegrove.com, but send me pictures if you pick up any great gear. If Ohio State wins, check out our fan shop, which is our affiliate link into Fanatics. You're going to buy the gear. You're going to buy it. You're going to spend $500 on hats and hoodies and everything else. Use our affiliate link. It is up on the top under shop. Use our affiliate link. It does not change your price. It does not change your discounts. We get a little bit of it back at Buckeye Huddle. It helps us. Help us out by getting the gear that you're going to want anyways. And we will be talking about it. I will make sure in the postgame show that we post that link so you can go out if Ohio State wins. I try my best not to be that a-hole that goes out and is like, making predetermined reads on this stuff. If Ohio State wins the game and you're going to buy the gear and grab screenshots of that too. I'm going to be really interested to see all of the new gear that could be rocking around Franklin County, Ohio, Fairfield County, Ohio, Cuyahoga County, Hamilton County, all over the place. Buckeye Nation is primed. They're ready. The stitches are ready to blow. People are so excited about this game. We are a little more than 24 hours away. I can't wait for all of that. Doug Shepard says that Tom and Tony are doing bold predictions at 4:30. That means I have to be off of here by 4:30, but honestly, I'm going to jump off here in the next 2-3 minutes. Let everybody have a chance to go out, have a smoke, have a drink, whatever, and jump on to watch Bold Predictions at 4:30. That's probably one of the funniest shows on the channel. when those two get going on all of that. Arnold Bibbs. I need to get better readers for when I'm doing these shows. These are new glasses. They're 6-7 months old, and I've already shot through them. So if any LASIK provider wants to advertise on the show, we'll do some trade outs. Mark could probably use LASIK. I certainly could use LASIK. I can't see squat anymore. Whoops. I'll get to Doug's in a second. Buckeyes against the world. There you go. Did everybody have a chance to check out the hype video for this game? LeBron James reading. He's the narrator for it. It was a very well done piece. I know that LeBron can be a little polarizing for some people. Hashtag stick to sports. But check it out. I think it's one of the better ones that they have done. I've been critical of some of them earlier in the season. I thought they moved slowly. I think this one is a great one. It'll get you charged up. We got a super chat here from Doug Shepard. Get yourself another bag of Beaver Nuggets, Kevin. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Doug Shepard. And thank you to everybody else who contributes. Thank you to everybody who signs up for Buckeye Huddle. $4.99 for your first month. $4.99. About the price of a bag of Beaver Nuggets, I think. I don't remember what Beaver Nuggets cost. Once we get our Buckeyes in Huber Heights, game over. Even though that's on the wrong side of Columbus, I live on the east side. That's Dayton, essentially, where the Buckeyes is going to be. I will make a trip every so often to go and check that out. But your homework assignment, again, send me emails with any gear that, for those of you in Atlanta and buy stuff out here with that, or if you order gear, and I promise on the post-game show, provided we get the outcome that we're all counting on, the link to our affiliate shop to make sure that you can help support Buckeye Huddle by getting the gear you already want. I think that's going to be great. And also, check out WagerWire, one of our great partners in the App Store, Google Play, and the Apple, the Apple Store as well. Get your app already downloaded, sign up, and use referral code Buckeye Huddle. We are going to have a pretty cool giveaway coming up here very soon as well. I want to make sure that we are clear in time for everybody to have a moment to step from this show over to bold predictions. But I wanted to see this. Somebody was talking that, Chris Lane said that the hype video was way too short. Robert Howard said it was great. And then Chris said it was too short. It was 2 minutes or something like that. But I think the mark of a good show like that is it feels like it went by like that, but it was 2:30, something like that. But I think it should get you hyped up. Chris also says, I lived in Huber Heights, was born in the Miami Valley. Yay. I think that's a good spot for one. I think we should have one kind of out by Buckeye Lake, because I don't live all the way east by Buckeye Lake. I'm in Pickerington, but that would be an easier trip for me than going all the way out to Huber Heights, the home of one Braxton Miller. I mean, and honestly, he should have played at Springfield, but ended up opting to go to Huber Heights. But I think we're kind of caught up here. We went a little bit longer than I'd anticipated, but that is fine. Until the next show, until Tom and Tony, bold predictions, 4:30. I didn't get an alert on this, but apparently somebody did. Be sure to check that show out. Be sure to take care of all of our great sponsors the way they take care of us. Appreciate all of that. Chris says, see you in bold predictions. I will not be in there. I will be watching the NFL game down in the media room, but you will have to deal with Tom and Tony. I was going to try and have a message for everybody to give them, but I don't know. Really quick here from Silver Sleuth. I remember in Picktown was a long road trip for high school football. I went to a wedding in Pickerington in somewhere between like 91 and 94. And I was like, it was like, this is like farmland. What the hell are we doing here? Lo and behold, I moved back to Ohio in 2006. I'm like, I don't want to live all the way out east. And where I end up buying a house, Pickerington. So crazy how stuff happens. But until then, I need to get this turned around for our people who listen to us on all of our podcasting platforms. And then it's a little NFL football. After that, we will be speaking with the Ohio State Alumni Association, Atlanta chapter here in Atlanta. Have a great day. Stay warm. Enjoy the next show. And we'll talk to you very soon.